Hi, I'm Chris C, and I'll be your English teacher for today. Today's lesson is all about chores. Yeah, no one likes chores, but we all have to do them. Today we'll learn some new words about chores. How we do them, why we do them. What are chores? Chores are the things that we have to do in order to keep our lifestyle going. Chores are not fun, I know that, but we still have to do them. And even when you are younger, you will not like to do them. But as you grow older, you will not mind it so much, and you won't care too much because you'll have done them many times already. So it will be like second nature. Now most chores do generally involve cleaning or organizing, moving stuff, putting stuff back, and cleaning, and more cleaning. The thing is, chores are different depending on our lifestyles. We each live our lives somewhat differently from each other. And so that will change what chores we have to do. I have tried to pick the chores that I think are the most common for everyone. So, yeah. This is my rat. He's Mr. Rat. Now, Mr. Rat has just bought his first house. He is having a very fun time living in his new home. But things are starting to get a little messy, a little unorganized, and everything is starting to get dirty. Sounds like Mr. Rat has some chores to do. What kind of chores will Mr. Rat have to do today? Let's find out. I've got so many chores to do here, I don't even know where to start. Where could I begin? Well, Mr. Rat, a good place to start would be your counter. This is what we call our counter. Now the counter has the sink. That is where we clean our dishes. So this we call a counter. Here, this is the sink. Here are our dirty dishes. Well, Mr. Rat, here's your counter, your sink, your dirty dishes. And if you want to clean your dishes, then one of the things that you will have to do, run the water until the sink is full. And then we pour in some detergent or cleaner. Okay, Chris, that looks easy enough. Now that the sink is full of clean water, now what do I do with my dirty dishes? Well, Mr. Rat, we take these dirty dishes and we set them all in the sink. We set them in the water and we let them soak for a while. That helps get some of the food off of them. Some of the food that gets stuck on the dishes. And then once they have soaked for a while, we take them and we wipe them down with our rag. And then once they have been wiped down, we remove them from the sink. We place them here in the dish rack so that they can dry. Dish rack. And then they sit here and they air dry and we really don't even have to dry them ourselves. We just sit and wait, and then they take care of themselves. We do this for all of the dishes, and then once we're done, we have to clean up the entire counter itself. We have to take our rag, get it nice and soapy, and then this whole counter we wipe down and clean it. Because when we're washing, what happens is bits of water come flying out. They land everywhere. They land everywhere. Okay, that makes sense. I think I understand now. The first thing I should do is make sure that I have clean dishes. Why is that though, Kris? Why should we begin there? Well, Mr. Rat, we like to have clean plates and clean silverware that we can use for eating. We don't want germs on this because that can make us sick. So it is always important to make sure that the stuff that we use for eating is clean. Okay, I understand. Thanks, Kris. Okay, Mr. Rat, now we'll talk about another place that needs to be cleaned. Your bed. This, Mr. Rat, is where you have been sleeping. Now, what things need to be cleaned here? First, the headpost needs to be dusted. The headpost is this thing. Sometimes it's known as a headrest. Now our pillow and our pillowcase, these both need to be washed. Our pillowcase covers our pillow. That's where we put our head. Then the sheets, quilts, covers, and bedding. All this stuff is what goes on our mattress. These need to be washed. How can I wash all of this, Kris? Well, Mr. Rat, is very easy. You just take all this stuff here and you put it in the washing machine. Oh, wow, that sounds easy enough. So I don't have to wash anything by hand? Well, you still have to dust the headpost, Mr. Rat. I would spray some cleaner on a rag and wipe it down. We did the same thing when we wiped down the counter. It's very easy and it only takes a moment. Oh, okay. Thanks, Kris. Mr. Rat, look over here. It's Mickey. Hi, Mickey. Well, what kind of chores do we have with Mickey today? Well, Mickey likes to have a clean cage. It is important for her health. One of the things that we have to do every day is make sure that our pets have a clean place to live. Mickey lives in this cage. She spends most of her life in it, except when she is playing. Because of that, the cage has to be cleaned very often. Some animals, like cats and dogs, they walk around our house. It's important to keep our entire house clean, but we cannot clean the entire thing every day. Unlike this cage, I can clean it every day, and it is important to her health that I keep it cleaned this often. You understand, Mr. Rat? Why, yes I do, Kris. Thank you. Okay, Kris, what's something else we can clean? Well, I'll show you, Mr. Rat. It's starting to get hot outside. What's this? Oh, that's a fan. I know what that is. It spins and cools me off. You're exactly right, Mr. Rat. And do you see these? These are fan blades. We have to keep these fan blades dusted. We have to take a rag and put some cleaner on it and then wipe it down just like we've been doing with everything else. Okay, and how will that help me? Well, Mr. Rat, when you start spinning the fan, when you turn the fan on, if you have not cleaned it, dust will rain down on you. It will come down from the fan and get all over the place. And then you'll have dust all over your head. Oh, I don't want that to happen. Then make sure you keep your fan dusted, Mr. Rat. All right, Kris, that sounds like a good plan. Hey, Mr. Rat, where are you? Oh, I'm standing on the floor. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Rat. And you know what we have to do with this rug here? What's that, Kris? Well, Mr. Rat, we have to vacuum this rug. We have to keep it clean, just like everything else. Vacuum. Isn't that an odd word? But that's what it is. And what will vacuuming do for it? Well, Mr. Rat, vacuuming will help remove all of the dust and the dirt. Is that right? Because whenever I vacuum, it still looks kind of dirty. Well, Mr. Rat, again, there is more to do than just vacuuming. We must also shampoo the carpet. Shampoo it from time to time. That will help remove things like stains, stickiness, just regular nasty whatever. And then if the floor is hard and solid like tile or wooden floors, we can do things like sweeping, and that removes the dust. Not as well as vacuuming, but it helps. And we can also mop. And that mopping, that is what we do instead of shampooing when we have a hard floor. Unlike the carpet, because we cannot mop this material. Do you understand, Mr. Rat? Yeah, I guess. Okay. Hey, Kris. Listen, we've been doing a lot of cleaning. When are we going to do anything else? Well, Mr. Rat, let me show you something. See, all of these surfaces in here, they all need to be wiped down. Wow, are you serious? Yes, Mr. Rat, but there are some surfaces, like the sink and the counter. We need to wipe those down more often because they have more germs on them. Really? Well, I guess that's right, but what else can I do to make this place look nice? One thing we can do, Mr. Rat, is to keep everything organized. Do you see these books? They're all stacked very neatly. But look at this mess here. We have markers and an eraser on the floor. Things like this, we just pick them up, put them back where they belong. Let's just say, for the sake of this exercise, that my bed here is where this stuff goes. Alright? Now we've taken it and put it back. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. And another thing we can do is to take good care of our plants. Plants need to be watered. Sometimes they need fertilization. That just means they need to eat plant food. Another thing that they need is sunlight. So if we take good care of our plants, they will always be happy. And they will grow nice and healthy and give us a nice, clean, healthy looking home. Say, Kris, what else can you recommend in order for me to have the best kind of life in my house? Well, Mr. Rat, after you've cleaned and done all the dishes and counters, wiped all the surfaces down, cleaned your bed and made the bed back up, we can take care of other things. For example, here is a candle. Candles are nice and they smell very nice, Mr. Rat. Oh yes, yes they do. But whenever someone leaves a room and no one is watching a candle, be sure to blow them out. That way, you do not risk starting a fire. Because if no one is there to watch the candle, maybe one of your pets might come along and knock it over by accident. Or maybe the flames will leap out of the candle and then catch something on fire. That could cause a lot of damage. So just safety concerns like these are one thing we can take care to check. Another thing we can do to take out the garbage. I do not have a lot of garbage today, Mr. Rat, so I don't have to worry about taking it out. But once it starts to get full, always be sure to remove it, because it will start to smell and draw bugs. Ew! And it becomes a health risk. So if we want a nice, clean, fresh smelling home, be sure to get rid of the garbage and take the garbage out when you need to do so. Other than that, Mr. Rat, everything is just a matter of keeping stuff clean and organized so you can find stuff and so that stuff won't be so dirty and nasty all the time. Does that make sense, Mr. Rat? Yeah, I guess it does, Kris. Alright. Goodbye.